evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight. And thank you, Gabby, for a nice introduction of the Women's Business Center and then myself. So it's a pleasure to share the information tonight with the attendees. So let me get the my screen up. So just 1 second. Okay, so I don't know how many of you are familiar with the SBA, probably most of you, because during the pandemic, SBA was everywhere. So we are a federal agency, mostly involved in making loans available to small business people. But during the pandemic, we also involved in making PPP loans and also what is called economic injury disaster loans, right? So let me share some information about the organization, and then we go from there. So my name is Kay, and I've been with the Fresno district office, and my main job description is I work with our lending partners and help them to understand our loan program so that they can utilize to make loans available to you. Okay, so I want to share a little bit about what is the SBA Microloan Program is about. So SBA came up with this program called Microloan Program because people who are looking for smaller dollar amount loans oftentimes have greater difficulty finding a lender because the amount is small. And most of the times, people who are looking for small dollar amount, they are either startups or very early phase of business. So they don't have much of financial history to show that they are making money. So oftentimes they have a great difficulty having access to the money. So SBA came up with this program called Microloan Program. So this program is created to assist women, no-income, veteran, and minority entrepreneurs and other small business in need of a small amount of financial assistance. So under this program, SBA makes direct loans to intermediaries. So it's normally non-profit organizations that work with the SBA, and then that organization in turn use the money to make loans to micro borrowers. So the mission of the program is to integrate micro-level financing with the training and the technical assistance for startups, newly established businesses, existing and growing businesses. So I'm going to explain to you more in detail what we are talking about, this micro-level financing and training and the technical assistance going forward. So as I explained to you, how the program works is that SBA, we lend money to intermediary lender, which is, most of the times it's a non-profit organizations. And then SBA also gives the grant money to these intermediaries so that they could offer training and technical assistance to small businesses. Because most of these micro businesses, they don't have very sophisticated accounting expertise or, lending programs or other things that need to run the business successfully. So SBA provide grant funding to these intermediaries, not only loan them money, so that they could offer not only the loan, but also technical assistance. So once intermediary get the money from the SBA, then they use the money to make a loan to micro businesses. And then they provide training and technical assistance to micro businesses. Then micro businesses, like your business, you borrow money from them and then you pay back the money to the intermediary lender. Then intermediary lender use the money to pay back to the SBA. So this is the program, basically only program that SBA has. The SBA actually lend money to intermediary so that they could use the fund to make loans available to micro businesses. This one, I want to show you some of the services we provide as a federal agency. So first of all, we provide access to capital. So we have several loan programs, starting with the microloan. Then we also have called Community Advantage Loan. Community Advantage Loan is the little bit bigger size loan, up to $350,000. Microloan is up to $50,000. Now, later on, once you have a business that you want to buy the business premises, or you want to construct a building for your business, you could consider the program called the 504 Loan Program. So you put down either 10%, 15%, or 20% of your total project, and then you can finance the rest of it. So for example, $1 million building, you only have to bring in 10% or 15% or 20% of it, then you can borrow the rest of it, okay? Okay, the other one is called SBA Express and the 7A. These are the programs normally offered by banks and credit unions. So when you hear SBA loans, most of the times they refer to this 7A loan or SBA Express loan. So these are the programs the banks offer. And then 504 program is also bank offers with the entity called the Certified Development Company. So later on, if you need for a building for your business, you may want to consider 504 loan and then also 7A and then compare which is better for you. Okay, in addition to that, I also want to mention lender match. Lender match is sort of like eHarmony in that SBA gets the information from lenders that are interested in getting referrals. And then you also sign up for this lender match program, provide your information, such as how much money you're looking for what purposes. And then we have program that finds a match. So if there's a match, then you will get information from the system, then you can get in touch with them. But as far as microloan is concerned, you you could either use a lender match, but I will provide you the information that you could contact directly instead of using the lender match. The other program I also mentioned to you is a surety bond. Now, surety bond is the contractors. As you know, when people get the contract, they normally required to provide a performance bond or, like a bid bond. That kind of requirement is always required. And oftentimes, the small businesses have difficulty competing with the bigger businesses because they cannot provide those bonding. So SBA also came up with this program, surety bond. So if you're a contractor and if you have some difficulty getting the bond, then you need to compete, then you could consider surety bond program. So I just want to share this information for you so that in the future, if you know someone who is doing the construction work, or in case you're interested in government contracting, then you could consider surety bond program. In addition to this capital and the government contracting, surety bond, we also provide the education, right? So we have today we have this workshop on the microloan program. So we work with the intermediaries, Women's Business Center, SCORE, or if you're a veteran, we also have a Veterans Business Outreach Centers. So they do similar things like provide counseling and training, but their focus is on veterans. So if you're a veteran, you may also consider contacting Veterans Business Outreach Centers. The last one is a Small Business Development Center. So they are mostly associated with the like universities or big organization. So once, let's say, you grow your business and then you need a little bit more sophisticated guidance and in terms of doing the marketing or all other things, you may want to consider getting in touch with Small Business Development Center. Now, one thing I want to mention to you is that all these organizations, they get some grant funding from the SBA to provide counseling and training for almost free. Most of the training is free, but there are sometimes they charge some fee, but the fee is very nominal amount. So I want you know these services. So if you have any questions or you need some counseling, one-on-one counseling, then please feel free to get in touch with Women's Business Center, SCORE, Veterans Business Opportunity Center, or Small Business Development Centers. Okay, so who are eligible small business for microloan? As I mentioned to you earlier, startups. Startups have a difficult time getting the fund. So this microloan program has been created to help startups, newly established or growing for-profit small business concern. So most of SBA loan program proceed is for for-profit. So non-profits are not eligible. However, on the microloan program, there's an exception. So if you have a child care center, and if it's a non-profit, you could still utilize microloan. So this is the exception. But most of SBA loan programs does not allow non-profits get the loans. Has to be for-profit business. Borrower's business is located within the intermediary's approved service territory. So there is like a certain intermediaries are given certain territories that they could serve. So I will share that information with you at the later slide, who you could contact depending on where you are situated, okay? The other requirement is that you have to be either US citizen or legal resident. And if you are not a citizen, you must to provide some documentation showing your legal status, okay? So given the fact that all this federal program is financed by taxpayers' money, so this is the requirements. Has to be U.S. citizen or legally in this country. Okay, the specifics of the program. So let's say you got the loan from the intermediary, and what are the terms you could expect? So the maximum loan size on the microloan is $50,000. So $50,000 or less, okay? There's no minimum loan size. So you can ask for $2,000, $5,000, $10,000, depending on your need and your ability to repay, you can ask, but the maximum size cannot exceed $50,000. Loan maturity. Usually you will get a little bit less than 7 years. The maximum is 7 years, which is 84 months. However, let's say usually lenders may give you 6 years or 6.5 years. The reason is that, let's say you borrow the money and then you lost your major clientele and you have difficulty paying the regular payments. So you may ask for some reduced payments for certain time periods, such as 6 months or so. Then if lender wants to give that, then they want to have some room to do that. Or let's say your cash flow is really tight. So you ask lender that, can I have 3 months deferment? So 3 months, you don't have to make payments, principal and interest, or only make interest payments, that kind of situation. So the lenders wants to have a little bit of room in those situations. So that's why probably most of lenders will give you 6 to 6.5 years, okay? Under microloan program, you cannot get a revolving line of credit, meaning that you are going to get a term loan. So the term could be 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, so all the way up to 7 years, okay? Interest rate on the microloan, you are going to get a fixed rate. Now, depending on your loan size, the lenders can charge you either 8.5% above their cost of fund. They borrow from the SBA, then usually at the very low interest rate, they receive money from the government, and then they are allowed to add 8.5%. Okay, so if the loan size is $10,000 or less, then they could add 8.5. If it's more than $10,000, the maximum they could charge is cost of fund plus 7.75. Okay. Use of proceed, where you could use the money. Basically, you can use the fund to buy your supplies, furniture fixture, material, equipment, or for working capital, so buying the inventory, or first couple of months is paying utility or rent, that kind of things. Also, you could also use the proceed to refinance. That will improve your debt position cash flow. So let's say you are trying to borrow some money, but you could not find any lender. So the only way was you could use a credit card. So you opened up your business using credit card, but as you know, the credit card charges a high interest rate, right? 18%, 20%. So in those cases, you could refinance that business. You cannot do your personal credit card debt, but if you use the credit card for your business, then you could refinance that credit card with this microloan proceed. In order for you to do that, you want to keep all the receipt that shows that you used for your business. Okay, otherwise you won't be able to get refinanced. So whenever you are using your credit card for business purposes, always keep all the receipt and keep those things because you need those things. One thing I also mentioned to you is that if you can, try to get a credit card in the business name and then use that credit card for business only. That'll make things much easier and quicker. In case you don't have business credit card, then you could designate one of your personal credit card for business only, and then use that as your business. And as I said, keep all the receipt to show that you use the money, the credit card for your business. Then you should be able to refinance it. Okay. However, you cannot use your proceed to buy, the real estate or improve your private home unless, let's say, portion of that private home you are using for your business. Okay, so I will go over this in a little bit more detail next slide. Now, collateral, as you know, collateral is the asset that you pledge to secure the loan, right? So most lenders, when they lend you money, they want some kind of asset that of value to secure their loan. So we don't have, SBA do not have any requirements that what lender has to do. Usually the lender decides what kind of collateral they are asking for. So if loan amount is, let's say, less than 20,000 or something, probably lender is not going to requiring that, let's say, collateral. But let's say if you borrow like 50,000 or something, then they may want to see some type of collateral. So most of the times when you use the fund to buy, let's say, equipment, furniture fixture, usually those things could be the collateral. But depending on the situation, then they may ask you to pledge some other assets if you have. Now, as I mentioned, SBA do not get involved directly. We don't make loan to you directly. So the intermediary, they are the ones who is going to evaluate your request, and then they will do the underwrite, and then they will service the loan. So there is no direct interaction between you and the SBA. So basically, you deal with all the things involved getting the loan and paying back with the intermediary. Okay. So I want to go over a little bit more as to where you could use the money. So as I mentioned to you, working capital. So you could use the fund to pay your rent or utility, those things, supplies, furniture fixtures, machinery equipment. However, you cannot use for real estate or buying the land type of deal. I don't know, 50,000, you cannot by land, I guess. But let's say you have other money available and this portion of that you want to use it, you cannot do that. Real estate or land. So not to be used for real estate or improve private home unless used for business. As I mentioned to you, only that portion of your private home, if you are going to use it for your business and you improve that, your home, then you may be able to do so, but it'll be quite challenging. So. Okay, the other thing I also mentioned to you is that sometimes lenders require certain type of like insurance. So let's say you pledge some assets, you use the fund to buy certain type of equipment, and then you are going to store that business premises utilized there. So if that premise is special, the hazard area, flood, getting flooded, then they may ask you to provide flood insurance, right? So flood insurance, they will require you to provide if any portion of the collateral is located in a special flood hazard area. So, like when you do the flood map, usually it indicates whether they is in special hazard area or not. So depending on the situation, they may ask you to provide that. Coverage must be minimum outstanding principal balance or maximum limit of coverage available. So usually the amount you need to pledge, the flood insurance, is based upon the outstanding principal balance or whichever the insurance company would provide the maximum amount. Now there is another insurance called the credit life insurance. Under our program, we don't allow intermediaries to require you to provide credit life insurance unless it says that the local law requires that it will be offered to all borrowers, or it is internal policy of the intermediary to require such coverage. However, if we are borrowing less than $10,000, even if local law requires that, the intermediary cannot ask you to provide this credit life insurance. Okay. Now, disability insurance. We don't allow intermediaries to ask you to provide disability insurance, right? Again, if it's required by state law, maybe the intermediary could do so, but unless they could provide that, it is required by state law, they cannot ask you to provide disability insurance. Now, packaging fees. So when you go to the intermediary, apply for a loan, they normally charge you these packaging fees. Okay, so they can charge reasonable fees. However, there's a ceiling as to how much they cannot exceed, right? So the maximum they could charge, the packaging fee, would be 3% of the amount of loan maturity of one year or more. So if your loan maturity is 1 year or more longer, then they could charge 3% of the loan amount as a packaging fee. If your loan maturity is less than 1 year, then the maximum they could charge is 2% of the loan amount. Okay.
Okay.
Now,
can I interject for just 1 second? There was a question in the chat box. Can I go ahead and just read it out to you real quick?
Sure.
Okay. The question is from Margie Hurd, and she's asking, how does the SBA microloan interest rate compare to a regular bank loan interest rate?
Okay. So usually bank rate, like as far as the SBA loan is concerned, they usually use prime rate as a base. Then they add, allowed spread. Whereas this microloan, they don't use the prime rate. They use what is called the cost of fund from the SBA. Usually SBA fund to intermediary is very low because they use a 10-year treasury bill as a basis. So and then they also give some incentives. So they give discount to these intermediaries. So oftentimes the rate, the cost of fund this intermediary gets from the SBA is like 1%, 2%, like very, very low. So when they add together, let's say 8.5, if loan amount is 20,000, for example. So let's assume 2% cost of fund plus 8.5. So on the microloan program, let's say $20,000 loan, the customer is going to pay 10.85%. Okay. Whereas, let's say similar situation, if the same amount of $20,000 loan with, let's say, regular SBA loan, non-microloan program, then usually lender is allowed to add prime plus 6.5. So prime is right now, what is the 7.5, right? Plus 6.5, there goes about 14%. So it could be also another difference is that on the microloan program, the interest rate is fixed. Whereas under the regular SBA program, interest rate is 9 out of 10 times is variable rate. So prime goes up further, let's say next month goes up like 8%, your rate is going to go up more. So there are a couple of advantages of using microloan. One, you get the fixed rate, and two, usually your interest rate will be lower than other SBA loan programs. Okay, so let's see, let's continue the closing cost. Okay, so closing cost, in addition to packaging fees, you are also going to pay closing costs most of the times. So most of closing cost is the out-of-pocket cost that intermediary has to incur, such as filing or recording the deed of trust, or collateral, they have to appraise it, or credit report, and other direct charges related to the loan closing. So they could charge you some closing cost. Okay. Now, as I mentioned to you, the fees for technical assistance, it is not allowed. So most of the assistance you're going to get from this intermediary would be free, okay? And now this packaging fees or closing fees cost could be added to your loan amount and financed over the life of the microloan, provided the total loan amount including the fee, does not exceed $50,000. Okay, so as I mentioned to you, the technical assistance grant. So SBA gives the money, grant funding to intermediaries, so they could provide some technical assistance to you, right? So the intermediary is going to provide ongoing training and the technical assistance to micro businesses. And I want to know that once you get the money, it's not the end of it. The intermediary may ask you to participate in certain workshops or get some training. So because the program requires that, because SBA wants these micro businesses get the help they need to run their business successfully so that they could pay back the money and then grow their business. So basically, SBA requires intermediary, they have to provide post-loan technical assistance. So in terms of marketing and the management, financial management, all kinds of stuff, you could get the assistance from intermediaries for free, okay? Grant dollars have to pay, okay, so that's the purpose of it. So we are giving the money to intermediary so that they could provide training to micro businesses. So some of the training topic would be, one-on-one consulting and counseling. They could review your business plan and cash flow projections. For example, you want to do a startup and you want to, you're not sure whether your business plan makes sense. So they could review that. Business assessment evaluation, so planning, sales and marketing, your organization structure, you have some questions whether it's better to form LLC or sole prop, and they can answer those questions. And management skills, accounting, budgeting. And then also they can help you with accounting system training, improve record keeping, regular, from time to time, they are required to stop by your site and make sure that, your business is doing well, and then any questions they have to answer. Identifying and targeting new markets, and then also help you to strategize for your business growth, preparing for bank loans. So let's say you got the microloan, you've been successful. Now you want to, borrow a little more money, which is about $50,000. Then you need to probably apply for a regular SBA loan or a conventional loan. So you need some paperwork. They can help you with that, analyzing business financials and all those things. So I just giving you some of the examples of technical assistance you could ask and get the help from. Now, this slide shows you, depending on where you are located, who you want to contact if you're interested in getting microloan, okay? So the first entity I listed alphabetically. So first of all is the Access Plus Capital. Now, this intermediary is located in Fresno, Central Valley, and this is their phone number. And their main service area is counties in Central Valley. So they mostly serve Fresno, Madera, Merced, Kern, Tulare, so Central Valley area. Now, there's another entity called California Coastal Rural Development Corporation, which is located in Salinas, okay? And their phone number is 314241099. And their service area is counties in Central Coast. So most of you probably in San Obispo. So they serve San Obispo, Monterey, Santa Cruz, Santa Barbara. Those are the main counties they serve. So if you are located in San Obispo, you are interested in applying for microloan, you want to contact California Coastal Rural Development Corporation. Okay. Now, the last entity, CDC Small Business Finance. Now, this entity, they can serve California statewide. So they could overlap with the CalCoastal main area or Access Plus Capital area. So like Access Plus, they cannot go outside of counties in Central Valley, or CalCoastal, they cannot go outside of Central Coast. However, CDC Small Business Finance, they could do any counties in California state. Okay, so that is the information regarding microloans. So this is the time for questions and answer time. So is there any additional questions that I could answer?
Kay, in our chat box, we had a question from Margie Hurd. She asked, how old is this program?
How old?
Yes, how old is the SBA Microloan Program?
Probably, I think this program came into being, I would say 1992 or something. That's how I remember. Yeah, so they created this program, and then it's been growing steadily, and it gets bigger and bigger, and became very popular. And then people who are looking for, let's say, $5,000, $10,000 loan, they utilize this program a lot.
Okay, well, it doesn't appear that anyone has any questions at this point.
I have a question, one more, sorry.
Oh, great. Okay, go right ahead.
What banks in San Luis Obispo County are the intermediary banks?
Okay, so unlike a regular SBA program, this microloan program is offered by only the entities that are approved by the SBA. So microloan, if you're interested in applying for microloan, then you need to contact, let's say, where are you located? San Obispo?
Uh-huh.
Then you need to either contact California Coastal Rural Development Corporation or CDC Small Business Finance.
So there's no SBA office in San Luis Obispo County?
No, as I mentioned to you, you're not getting these loans from the SBA directly. SBA lends money to these entities, and then these entities are the one who makes loan to you. So you need to get in touch with either California Coastal Rural Development Corporation or CDC Small Business Finance.
I think I will forget that and I won't write it down. So when one of my, I'm a mentor, when one of our clients qualify, it looks like they qualify, what do I do? Where do I go?
Yes, the I shared my slide with Gabriel. So if you want a copy of it, I think Gabriel could send you this. I mean, this is public information. So Gabriel could share with you with this contact information. So you could do that. Like the phone number, the Coastal 831-424-1099, and they are in the Salinas, right? And then since Small Business Finance, they are located in San Diego, but they have the business development people all over the place in California. And our area is Penny Garden. And her phone number is 559-519-1478.
Yeah, I think I'll just try to remember the Women's Business Center, and somebody like Gabby will direct me I get, because most of our clients are women.
Yes. So as I explained to you, this microloan program is specifically designed to help underserved markets, such as traditionally women-owned businesses or minority-owned businesses, veteran-owned businesses. Those are the groups that who had difficulty having access to capital, because normally they are looking for smaller dollar amount, and usually they are looking for starting a new venture. They cannot provide a really strong collateral to get the loan. So all kinds of challenges. So that's why SBA came up with this program to basically the seed money. When you just need like less than $50,000 loan and you want to start. So this is the program you want to utilize it. And then once you have your business going and then you have a need for bigger dollar amount, we have a program called the Community Advantage Program. So the nice thing about these entities is that all these entities, 3 entities, they have another program called Community Advantage Program. That under that program, loan size could be up to $350,000. Okay. So you start with these entities as starting with the microloan, you pay back and your business keep growing, you need a bigger need. Let's say you want to $250,000 loan this time to do business expansion. Then you already have established relationship with one of these microlender, and then you say, hey, I need $250,000 to do these things to grow my business. Then you paid back microloan, you paid as agreed. They know you, so they said sure they could then process the community advantage loan. As long as your business show cash flow to service that additional the bigger debt, right? So this is also your way of building relationship with lenders. As you know, when you want to have a business, you must have your financial partner, the banks that you work with, because not only you borrow money when you start a business, you need access to their money constantly to in order for you to grow your business, right? So it is very important for you to establish a good working relationship with the lenders, and this is your step towards that. So starting with a microloan, you build your reputation, relationship. Later on, you need a bigger loan, up to $350,000. You get the community advantage, and then let's say down the line that you need a building for your business. Instead of paying rent to someone else, you want to buy your own building. So while you're doing your business there, you also gain the equity, right? So that's when you're going to then consider getting SBA 7A or 504, because on the 7A program, loan size could go up to 5 million. Okay, now this a 5 program, it could be even bigger than that. So basically, you know, step by step, as your business grow, your need for the borrowing get grows. We have the program starting with the microloan, community advantage. Then we have a 7A and 504.
Thank you.
Okay.
And Margie, I just want to let you know that you don't have to write all this information down or try to memorize it. I most certainly will send out a link to the recording of this workshop, as well as I will include the PowerPoint presentation to everyone who registered.